So it's time for a bit of planning and planting to extend the market farm season. The geese are heading off for winter. Well, we're yet to have a frost, so we've still got some plants, but they've seriously slowed down in production. And it's mostly just things like this straw flower and some dahlias, and I'm desperately hoping they make it through to the beginning of November for our final market. But the sunflowers and the zinnias are mostly spent. However, I flipped this bed and now we've got wallflowers in, so they should be nice and early next year for a bit of zing and a bit of something to add to spring bouquets. Now, we all know that in general your market farm garden shuts down over the winter when it's cold, and the peak season is that spring and that summer season when you're growing all those little seedlings and then you're taking stuff to market. I really want to extend the season as much as possible, and though I'm not going to have huge harvests to take to market, I want some stuff to be on the honesty stall as much of the year as possible, just to make a trickle of income to come in. So it's now that I've started to flip a few beds and pull out the old stuff from summer and plant in some stuff that will grow a little bit over the winter and give me some early spring harvests, as well as some harvests that keep for a long time. Because the one thing I've realised when harvesting for markets is if you harvest loads of stuff and then you don't sell it, a lot of things quickly go off and end up just having to go into the compost. So with that being said, and because I've got the vast amount of room, I'm going to be putting in garlic and onions, both of which, once they've grown, you can harvest and then you can throw down on an honesty stall or take to your farmer's market week by week and not worry about if they're going to start wilting. The other thing is we are going to start flipping this polytunnel so we can get some new stuff in over the winter season. And so the first thing to do, sadly, is to say goodbye to the tomatoes. It's very tempting when plants look this good and even have still flowers on to leave them, but they're not going to ripen. There's quite a few green ones, and if I cut them off and take them home, they will ripen, but there's just pointless having these tomato plants in here because they're not going to do anything more. So all we're going to do is we're going to cut them off at the base. I'm not going to bother pulling the roots out because actually the roots will rot down in the soil and add some organic material. So we're going to harvest all of the tomatoes that are left, and then we're going to just chop everything down at the base and clear it out. It always looks so naked after you've stripped everything out. It's like after Christmas when you take the Christmas decorations down and the house just looks empty. But all the tomatoes are gone. I actually got way more than I thought. I thought there was just, 10 or 20 tomatoes, but actually I've got an entire bucket's worth. Most of those are just going to be for me. They won't be good enough for a market. So I'll just take them home and lay them out, and they will gradually ripen. A few of them have got marks and things on them, but they'll be fine to eat or to make into like a tomato sauce or something. So in here I've already started to plant, so you can see I've got rows of lettuce already in. I've got another little section of lettuces here. I did have something coming in and nibbling on a few, so I put the wool around, and it stopped. So it must have been a couple of rogue slugs, I would think, that have come in. They're doing quite well. I don't think they're going to be big enough for the market, but they should grow enough for to get some head lettuces for the market stand, the farm gate stand. Now obviously you've got to remember the winter plants don't grow, A, because of cold, but also because of the short daylight hours. So I'm bringing them in the polytunnel to try and get rid of one of those issues, the cold, but they will slow down significantly because they just don't have the hours of sunlight left. But I've got lots more lettuces here to fill the rest of this polytunnel with, and we will see how they go over the winter. I've come into the shed because it is incredibly windy outside. We're one of the highest parts of Suffolk, so whatever it says on my app about the wind, it's always much worse. But the other job we want to do today is I want to get some garlic and some onions in. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the things I realised when I was harvesting for markets was the majority of my crops have a very short shelf life. You know, even things like kale and chard start to wilt quite quickly. So once you've cut them, you need to sell them, otherwise they're just going to the animals or the compost. So I started realising that I needed some kind of dry foods, which is what I would call a garlic and onions. And that is that once you've harvested them, as long as you store them properly, they are things that I can trot out the market, the farmers markets week after week. And I can also put them down on the honesty box without worrying about them sort of wilting or going off. So I invested in some garlic. This is garlic Clador. It came from Tamar Organics. And they come in bulbs. So I got 2 lots, and I think it was £40 overall. They come in these bulbs, and then you break them down into the individual cloves before you put them into the ground. And then from King's Seeds, I got a kilogram each of these red onions. They are red Carmen. And then these white, which are rumba. And again, they don't come per amount, so you don't buy 10 seed onions. You buy them by amount. So 500 gram bags. So I've got a kilogram of these and a kilogram of these. But the first thing we need to do before I put them out is we need to split all of these cloves. And so it's pretty simple. Take your bulb and just start to break it open. I might just pierce the skin. And then you start to get your corms. And so from that one bulb, I got 20 little garlic cloves, which can go into the garden. Well, that took a while. This is all the garlic cloves. There's a lot there, but it's quite nice, just in the shed, out the wind, with a bit of Spotify on. However, now we need to go and plant it. I'm going to see if I can grab this without spilling it. That would be a disaster. That would be a disaster. Can we get it? Can we get it? Come on, come on, come on. Right, okay, so, actually now the wind is blowing it away. I'm going to put it on top of one of the hutches over here. Oh my goodness. Ooh. and I'll just go and get the rest of those bits that just blew away. Aside from the wind making it a bit bitter, it's actually quite a nice day. So we've got our bed laid here with our lines. So of course we're using the common method made famous by Jean-Martin Fortier. So we've got a 45 centimetre path, and then we've got a 75 centimetre strip. We've run out of cardboard, so this is now as far as I can get. So we're only going to be able to plant up probably the garlic today, maybe not even all of it. And then I'm going to have to go on a hunt and get more cardboard so I can keep extending the beds this way, because of course we've got those onions to put in too. Planting garlic, really, really simple. This is the bottom end where the roots come out of. That's the bit that's attached to the bottom of the clove when you split it off, and then this is the top. So all you want is it to go that way in the ground. And then of course, as you know here, we have many issues with birds. So I'll plant it and then I will cover the row in sticks so that the birds don't have it so easy to pull all of these out. So that is 400 or just over 400 of the garlic planted. I think I underestimated how much I had. I've probably got another 400 here, so I'm definitely going to have to do another bed. All the sticks are on, and if you remember, the reason we do the sticks is because in the spring, after I transplanted a ton of seedlings, a load of rooks came along and they pulled them all out. So the sticks just keep the birds away for long enough for those little plants, and hopefully these little garlic cloves, to create a few roots to anchor them in. And then when I do the next bed of these, I can just move the sticks across. But for now, I need to go and hunt down some more cardboard.